When you step into like a high-end professional restaurant kitchen, there is a very strict, almost sacred division of physical space. You have the prep counter.
Right, yeah.
And it is fast. It is incredibly messy. There are, vegetable peelings flying absolutely everywhere. Ingredients are constantly being mixed and tested.
Yep.
And then, completely separate from that, you have the dry storage pantry.
Which is the total opposite environment.
Exactly. Out there, everything is in a labeled, airtight container, perfectly categorized by, like, expiration date and food type.
Right, because you would never try to violently chop a 50-pound bag of onions inside the cramped, dark pantry.
No, of course not.
And you certainly wouldn't store an entire week's worth of flour right in the middle of your active, wet cutting board. I mean, if you did that, the entire culinary system would just completely break down.
Exactly. But when it comes to our digital lives, to our personal productivity setups, we do exactly this all the time.
We really do.
We try to chop the onions in the pantry. And, you're probably listening to this on your commute right now, thinking about that absolute graveyard of dead productivity apps on your phone.
We've all been there.
We force ourselves to use a single app for absolutely everything, and we end up with a system that is either like a chaotic mess of digital sticky notes or a database so incredibly rigid that it takes 10 minutes just to log a single fleeting thought.
Yeah.
I will admit right now, I once built a Notion database so complex that tracking my daily habit of drinking water took me 4 clicks and a nested drop-down menu.
Oh, wow. That is a lot.
I was chronically dehydrated just trying to maintain the system.
Which is, that's the exact definition of cognitive friction. People spend years hunting for this mythical unicorn app that can do it all. Brainstorming, project management, grocery lists, profound life goals.
Right.
And they just end up completely exhausted by information overload. The app literally becomes a second job.
Okay, let's unpack this, because today's deep dive is all about stopping that endless hunt. Today we're looking at a massive stack of productivity white papers, advanced user forum guides, and intricate database architectures built by absolute masters of 2 specific apps, which are Notion and Workflowy.
2 very different beasts.
Very different. And our mission today is to extract the exact master-level blueprint for building what they call a 2-brain architecture. We are going to distill exactly how to combine the lightning-fast, infinite outlining of Workflowy with the structured, relational database power of Notion.
Right.
So if you've ever felt your productivity system is too chaotic or too rigid, this is the exact aha moment you need to become effortlessly organized.
What's fascinating here is that to achieve that top 1% mastery of your own information, you actually have to stop looking for one single tool.
You had to give up the unicorn.
Exactly. You have to use 2 perfectly complementary tools and rigorously respect the boundary between them. We are establishing a hard, definitive line between thinking and storing.
So, to go back to our kitchen analogy, just to help visualize this, Workflowy is our messy prep counter.
Yes.
It's where we chop the vegetables, experiment with the recipes, and basically make a mess. It's built entirely for speed. And Notion is the perfectly labeled pantry where we store the raw ingredients and recipes.
That is the perfect mental model. And the user guides we reviewed, they explain the why behind this architecture beautifully. Workflowy operates as the front end of thought.
Right.
It is, at its core, just an infinite zoomable outline. Every single bullet point can be nested infinitely inside another bullet point.
Which is crazy when you first use it.
It is. But because it's entirely keyboard-driven, the friction to capture a raw idea or, outline a messy project or just incubate a weird thought is practically zero. It actually matches the speed of a human brain.
Which is fast.
Very fast. Notion, on the other hand, is the back end. It's your permanent, searchable record. It utilizes relational databases, rich media integration, complex filters.
All of their lifting.
Exactly. It is unparalleled for building a structured knowledge base or a project management hub, but it is way too slow and structured for rapid, messy brainstorming.
But I do want to highlight a massive blind spot that we found in almost every forum post of people failing at this. It trips up almost everyone who tries to use these 2 incredible apps together.
Yes, the trap of redundancy.
Yeah.
When users blur that hard line and try to make these 2 completely different tools do the exact same job, the whole system just collapses.
Right, like if you try to do rapid brainstorming in Notion, the cognitive load is just too high. You're clicking through page properties, database fields, formatting blocks, all just to write down a quick 2-word idea.
And by then, the thought is gone before the page even loads.
Exactly. And conversely, if you try to build complex multi user project trackers and Workflowy, it's just too shallow. You lack the structured data fields, the calendar view, the assigned user tags.
You really do. So the core takeaway for you listening is that you must respect the division of labor. You capture and think in Workflowy. You store and manage in Notion.
All right, so we know where to think. Workflowy is the prep counter. But let's talk about the speed of capturing those thoughts before they vanish, especially when we aren't, sitting at a comfortable desk with a full keyboard.
Right, the mobile problem.
Because I have to play the skeptic for a second here. An infinite list of nested bullet points sounds like an absolute nightmare.
It sounds chaotic.
It sounds like a recipe for getting completely hopelessly lost in a massive, never-ending text document. I mean, how on earth is a giant, infinite outline better than just using traditional folders like we've done since the Windows 95 days?
It's a very fair skepticism, honestly, and the answer reveals the biggest secret of Workflowy masters. They do not navigate by scrolling. If you are scrolling, you are losing. They navigate via search. The internal search operators in Workflowy turn what looks like a simple text document into a highly dynamic relational database.
Okay, make that real for me. How does a search bar beat a folder hierarchy?
So let's say you use tags. If you type the tag #task and then -#done into the Workflowy search bar.
So it's excluding the done ones.
Exactly. The entire infinite outline instantly filters itself to show you every single unfinished task across your entire life. Regardless of what project or folder it's nested inside, it just pulls them all right to the surface.
Oh, wow.
Or, let's say you forgot where you put a great idea you had on Tuesday. You just search last changed :7b, and the app instantly builds a custom view of only the bullets you've touched in the last 7 days.
So you aren't digging through folders hoping you remember where you put something.
No, you are dynamically querying your own brain.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because the documentation specifically focuses heavily on the mobile experience, particularly optimizing for Android. And mobile is where a lot of power users experience this worst friction.
It's the bottleneck usually.
It is. The goal here is removing literally any barrier between your brain and the digital prep counter. The guides detail this quick add widget you can drop right on your phone's home screen. You tap it, a tiny floating box opens instantly. You type your thought, hit send, and you're done. It's a sub 3-second capture. You don't even have to open the full app and wait for the UI to load.
It's so fast. And for the reading or research side of things, there is an incredible email to Workflowy feature. You are given a unique secret email address, and you can just use your phone's native share sheet to forward a long article link or like a PDF directly into your Workflowy inbox.
That's super seamless.
Yeah, and you also have very tactile swipe gestures, like swiping right on a bullet on your phone screen to instantly cross it off as completed. It feels very physical.
But there's huge warning in the user guides about using Workflowy on mobile.
Yeah.
Something that breaks the system if you aren't careful.
Yes, the nesting trap.
Yeah.
Well, infinite nesting, putting a bullet inside a bullet inside a bullet is brilliant when you're on a massive desktop monitor. On a 6-inch phone screen, deep nesting is fatal.
Just a total nightmare.
Anything over 5 or 6 levels deep causes severe UI lag, scroll resistance, and it just becomes impossible to tap the right line. So the expert advice is to use a completely flat multi-tag architecture when you are on mobile.
So rely heavily on tags like #task, #urgent, or #home.
Exactly. Rather than burying a simple grocery item inside 6 folders deep, keeps the mobile experience lightning fast and prevents that touch lag that makes people just abandon productivity apps altogether.
So, okay, we've got this incredibly fast prep counter. We're chopping vegetables at lightning speed on our phones, throwing ideas and tasks into the app in under 3 seconds. But here's the problem.
Rotting vegetables.
Exactly. If you just leave chopped vegetables sitting on the counter, they rot. Speedy capture is absolutely useless if ideas just pile up and die in an endless inbox.
Right.
How do we actually process this mess before it becomes a massive source of anxiety? Let's talk methodologies, starting with GTD.
Right, GTD, or getting things done. For those who might not know, it's a classic productivity framework designed to get tasks out of your head and into a trusted system.
Yeah.
In this hybrid setup, everything starts in the Workflowy inbox node. Every random thought, every forwarded URL, every task gets dumped into this one unorganized pile throughout the day. Then you sit down for a daily or weekly processing ritual.
Sort through the pile.
Exactly. You look at each messy item and ask one simple question. Is this actionable right now?
And here's where the split between the two apps, actually happens.
Precisely. If the task is part of a larger complex outcome, say, like redesign the company website that is no longer just a task, that is a project.
Right.
Because it requires tracking, that project gets promoted off the prep counter and gets a dedicated row in your Notion projects database. In Notion, you can assign deadlines, tag team members, track status.
But the small stuff.
The daily, highly volatile next actions, the quick phone call to the web designer, the fast email to the copywriter, those stay in Workflowy. You want those micro actions in that frictionless, flat environment so you can rapidly check them off without loading up a heavy database.
Okay, so Notion holds the heavy, overarching project container, but Workflowy holds the messy, day-to-day execution of the actual steps.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense for to-do lists.
Yes.
But what about ideas? Like, how does this apply to learning, reading, and research? The personal knowledge management side of things? The forums talk a lot about the Zettelkasten method.
It's a very similar process in Python. Zettelkasten is essentially a German term for slip, a method for connecting ideas rather than just hoarding them.
Right.
When you are reading a dense book or a research article, your fleeting notes, the quick raw reactions in your literature notes, like direct quotes, are rapidly bulleted out in Workflowy. It's just raw data capture. No formatting, no worrying about where it goes.
Just getting the wet clay onto the potter's wheel.
Exactly. But once an idea matures, when you look at that raw clay and realize you want to keep this concept forever, it is promoted to Notion. It becomes a permanent note in your database.
Okay.
And there is a critical, non-negotiable rule we found across the master-level architectures. A permanent note in Notion must have a full sentence title, not just a one-word topic like attention. It needs to be a complete claim, like human attention degrades predictably across an 8-hour workday.
Wait, I have to stop you there. Forcing myself to write a complete grammatically correct sentence
I know, it sounds a bit much.
for every single note.
Yeah.
Sounds incredibly tedious. Isn't that just adding a massive amount of friction back into the system we literally just spent 10 minutes trying to make frictionless?
It is friction, yes, but it is intentional cognitive friction.
How so?
Well, writing a full sentence forces your brain to actually synthesize the information, rather than just passively hoarding a neat quote you found. If you just title a note attention, your future self has no idea what that note actually means without reading it again.
Oh, I see.
The full sentence is the synthesis. It's the difference between blindly collecting data and actually thinking.
Ah, okay. That is brilliant. You are doing a favor for your future self.
Exactly. And once those permanent, fully formed notes are safely inside Notion, you use Notion's relational databases to link them together into curated maps of content, or MOCs.
Which is like what?
For anyone unfamiliar, an MOC is essentially a custom table of contents for a specific topic in your brain, like an index at the front of your own personal Wikipedia.
So the beauty of this for you, the listener, is that you no longer have to choose between a messy, fast brainstorming app and a rigid, powerful database app. You use them sequentially to filter your own brain.
Right.
But this brings up a huge, glaring logistical hurdle. Moving all this data manually, like copying and pasting from Workflowy to Notion every single day, sounds incredibly soul-crushing. How do we build a bridge between the kitchen counter and the pantry so you don't have to carry every single chopped carrot by hand?
There are a few distinct ways to build that bridge, depending on how technical you want to get. Starting with the absolute simplest, if you just need a visual reference, Notion has a native embed block.
Oh, right.
You can literally paste a shared, private Workflowy link right into the middle of a Notion page, and it creates a live, read-only window into your outline. You can scroll through your Workflowy to-do list while actively typing inside a Notion document.
Sure, but that's just looking through a window. That doesn't actually move the text into Notion's database field so I can tag it or search it.
Right. For actual manual data transfer, the cleanest method is what power users call the Markdown pipeline.
Okay, what's that?
Markdown is basically a universal, lightweight language for formatting text. If you copy an entire, deeply nested outline in Workflowy and simply paste it into Notion, it perfectly preserves all of your formatting. The bold text remains bold, the hyperlinks work.
Oh, that's huge.
And most importantly, the nested bullet hierarchy translates perfectly into Notion's block structure. Don't lose the shape of your thoughts.
Okay, that's great for manual moves, but I want to geek out over the automation layers for a second. The guides extensively detail using third-party automation tools like Zapier, Big.com, and N8N to connect these two brains.
Yes.
For the uninitiated, these tools are basically digital invisible hands. They sit in the background watching one app, and when something happens, they reach over and pull levers in a completely different app using API connections.
Yes, and introducing automation turns this hybrid setup into an absolute powerhouse. Let's look at a highly specific Zapier use case from the blueprints.
Yeah, give me a tip.
You can set up a background trigger so that whenever you create a new bullet in Workflowy and tag it with a specific text hash task, Zapier automatically catches it.
Okay.
The resulting action is that Zapier silently creates a brand new row in your Notion tasks database, automatically mapping the exact text of your Workflowy bullet into the name property in Notion. It literally moves the chopped vegetables to the pantry for you.
That is incredible. So logically, I should just set up a perfect automated two-way sync, right? Have everything mirror back and forth constantly, so both apps are always identical.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the absolute most consistent warning across every single expert guide we reviewed is, do not do that.
Wait, really? Why? It sounds so efficient.
Because true two-way sync between a fluid outliner and a rigid relational database is incredibly fragile. Think about it. If you change a comma in Workflowy, it updates Notion. But what if Notion is updating Workflowy at the exact same millisecond?
Oh.
You create infinite API loops. It almost always leads to duplicated data, server errors, and a massive headache where you don't know which app has the true version of your thought.
Well, that sounds like a mess.
It is. The best practice is a strict one-way flow. You push data from Workflowy into Notion for permanent storage. Keep the traffic moving one way across the bridge.
Or, I imagine if you absolutely must go the other way, you use Zapier to pull your high-level Notion deadlines into Workflowy each morning just to serve as a static daily to-do list.
Exactly.
But again, one-way traffic. Okay, so we built the ultimate hybrid system. We have the fast prep counter, the organized pantry, and a solid bridge between them. What are the hidden levers? The deep dive materials promised us veteran secrets, the things the top 1% of users pull to really make this system sing.
The single most powerful hidden gem in Workflowy, the feature that completely changes how you manage tasks, is called mirrors.
Yes, the double parenthesis shortcut. It's just two open parentheses. I was blown away by this.
It is a profound cognitive breakthrough. If you type two open parentheses, you can create a live, dynamically synced copy of any single bullet point. This means a single task, let's say, email the marketing team, can live deeply buried inside a complex projects list, and that exact same task can simultaneously live in your very simple today view.
Okay, wait, let me make sure I understand. If I cross it off in my today view on my phone while I'm, getting coffee, what happens to the one buried in the projects list?
It automatically crosses off in the projects list as well, instantaneously. It is the exact same piece of data, just viewed through two different physical windows on your screen. Think about the mental energy you waste constantly rewriting the exact same task in your weekly goals list, your project tracker, and your today list.
It's exhausting.
Right. Mirrors mean a single truth exists in two places at once. You kill the busy work of copying and pasting your own life. Though it is very important to note that mirrors do not transfer across the bridge into Notion.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, if you paste a mirrored bullet into Notion, the magic breaks and it becomes regular, static text.
Still, for the thinking side of the brain, that is an absolute superpower. And we also have to mention the built-in Workflowy AI tools, because you can literally just type /inode directly into your messy outline.
Yes, the AI integration is highly content-aware. You can dump a massive, chaotic, unformatted transcript of an hour-long meeting onto the kitchen counter, type that / command, and ask the AI to automatically summarize the notes or extract only the actionable to-dos for a specific person.
That's wild.
It acts as a digital sous chef. It preps, chops, and cleans the raw data before it ever crosses over the bridge into Notion.
And for anyone listening who hears all this and wants to take the system evolution even further, to really pressure test this setup, we uncovered two incredible resources in our research.
Very highly recommended.
Yeah, if you want to master the database side, Marie Poland's Notion Mastery Framework are basically the gold standard. And for the front end, Frank the Workflowy coach has brilliant tutorials for mastering those advanced search queries we talked about earlier.
Those specific creators have truly operationalized these concepts better than anyone else in the space.
So what does this all mean? It means you now have the exact blueprint for a system that can scale to tens of thousands of notes, projects, and ideas without ever slowing you down or causing your phone to lag. Workflowy is your fluid mind. Notion is your structured memory.
This raises an important question, though, doesn't it? It challenges our fundamental relationship with digital information. Respecting this hard boundary between the fluid space where we think and the structured space where we store is the only sustainable way to defeat information overload.
Yeah.
You have to let the tools do exactly what they were designed to do and stop forcing them to be unicorns.
Which brings us right back to our restaurant kitchen. When the prep counter is clear and the pantry is meticulously organized, you can finally just cook.
Yeah,
But it leaves you with one final thought to mull over today as we wrap up.
go for it.
We've just built the ultimate bridge between human thought and digital memory using these two amazing tools. But as AI gets faster, more deeply integrated, and more predictive, what happens when the digital pantry starts anticipating exactly what you want to cook?
Oh, that's interesting.
Right. What happens when the software starts chopping the vegetables for you before you even ask? Will we even need the messy prep counter in 5 years, or will the software just do the thinking for us? Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We challenge you to test this system today. Just grab your phone right now, open a blank note, and capture your next big idea in a simple, frictionless bullet point. We'll see you next time.